So if we had these 100 people, right, and let's just say that, you know, they're and they own this entity. Now, let's say that in this entity, it is geo-based, all right, because that's where their activity is going to be.
Oh, correct.
Right? Okay. I mean,
yep, but the implementation doesn't matter. But you're right. The stakeholders are geo-based. Okay.
So no matter what the entity was, if the I don't know how to I can't even ask the question. You know, that's how. If I knew this criteria, and I could do it to a certain level, they could be rewarded and awarded for all the content coming out of that entity.
That is right.
And
the winners in the whole thing would be the consumers and the content owners. The people who lose are the middlemen today.
Well, then let me ask you. Let me say one more.
Consumers, you know, they pay less too. You know, it's like we're just trying to get to net zero. Can you operate everything net zero? Because, you know, commissions are commissions. That's a different deal.
Right. Well, I want to. So our treasurer got on, and she's like, "We need more. We need more property on the tax rolls." Right. And you know, I've been in real estate for a long time, and that's what I really, you know, I could tell you so much about that topic, but it's not easy. And what there's three things that I think blockchain can really help, and I want to hit on these three touch points. One is that the revenue that we decide, or the revenue that comes out of this entity, can be shared with those types of entities. That can be written in, and that can be in perpetuity. So that, right?
Yes.
We can also write it so that if somebody's qualifications change, that they got to go.
Yes.
Right. You know, so like if I want to do this for you, and Mark Lesswing and Lesswing LLC is just working the shit out of the channel, and you're just, I mean, you're putting out a lot of content and you're making money for it and you're doing a great job, but then Mark says, I'm going to retire. Well, then Mark Lesswing doesn't get to keep that. He has to sell it to an active practitioner. All right.
That's right. Which is called the technical term is delegation, right?
Okay. There you go. You know what? If I don't I'll screw up every area in term. So I'm going to keep you busy. Just,
not a problem.
All right. So now we can make sure everybody gets paid, and we can take care of the community, which we have to anyway, right?
Oh, sure.
And it's our tax base, right? So I mean, I don't want people from California deciding what the hell's going to happen with the tax base in Chicago.
Yeah.
All right. So if we did that, and there was this, you know, these 100 people, they can each sell, when they're done, they can sell their piece and get, you know, whatever money they get from there as an asset. It's a legitimate asset, and everybody else will know. So, and you or me, depending on how we wrote it, but let's just say me right now, every time one of my customers resells, I can make the money too.
Which is something blockchains do very well. Yes.
I want to point
the whole heritage thing, all the vintages, it does an amazing job.
Yes, it does. And you know,
that's why it's called microeconomic, all the pennies, you know, that's why they flow out, but it can keep track of all those things, and they get sizable when they add them up.
They do. And I'm going to take us back to before I turn on the button and recorded it. And I said something to you, and I'd like you to say it for posterity's sake here, that if it comes down to you know, money, the big money is going to come out and crush the hell out of guys like me.
Yes, because a big money will always maintain its status quo. It'll right. Try to do that, but can right. Innovation? But eventually, you know, innovation does win eventually. But the players want status quo. I mean, you do.
And redistribution. So, it's, I learned this a long time ago when I was really young, and I got some guy really mad at me. He said, "You'll never do business in the city." And then there was a guy that called me up and wanted to do business with me because he hated that guy. So, it's the real world. So if I could sell it, so right now, we could have private ownership that was transparent, trackable, shareable, and directable.
Yes.
All on, if I used Google, scalable, cheap as hell, best analytics, and already has all the basic, what do we call those, standards in place.
Right, because blockchain doesn't need backups. It doesn't have all these elements that we invented for centralized systems. We don't have all those things to worry about. Because when you put it on a blockchain, you have about 10,000 copies of it somewhere. So you don't have to do backups and reloads and things like this. All those things are just invented by us, by businesses, to take care of these database things. But it is doable as long as you can define the language of these rules. And those are called smart contracts. So I'm about to enter this area. I've got a base blockchain ready to go, but I don't have the knowledge of expertise in the area to design the rules that sit around the data. As I was showing you those diagrams, those little bubbles, I don't have the practitioner knowledge to do them. I could take a whack at them, but it'll be a technologist's whack at what would these rules be?
Okay. So maybe we can do a little horse trading here. All right. So let me try to redefine or restate what you just said in a way that more people can understand. All right. There's the idea, right? The general idea, but then there's the language, the implementation of the language, and then there's the algorithms to implement the language.
Correct.
Okay. Sometimes if somebody hears the word algorithm, they go, "Oh shit, it's the wrong conversation." But here's where I'm thinking maybe I can be of some assistance, or we can work together. Either way, if everybody wins, I'm thrilled. I'm looking at. I've been working with a gentleman. His name is Eric Spivak. Have you ever heard of Eric?
No.
Eric is he's a young guy. He does a lot of NFT events.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to bring in NFT for a second. Okay.
Which is good. It's an interesting model to look at.
Right. All right. Are you familiar with? Oh God, we'll have to have this off camera, because when I tell you what I saw, you're gonna bust a gut. Liberland. Have you ever heard of Liberland?
Yes.
Okay, so for any of you that haven't heard of Liberland, there are some people that are trying to make a meta country with real country, and they got this little piece of a dirt and a basin between two countries and a river, and now they're putting Liberland there. So this is really happening. I saw this at the event. But the thing that got me about the NFTs, this is where oh my gosh, yeah. Well, we will have some fun with that. Here's the thing about the NFTs. I want to just shoot the breeze for 1 second. What is real estate? Real estate, there's a lot of this technology. So if you wanted to go into my bonus room, right, I might just hand you a pair of goggles. This whole NFT thing is a way to extend your living environment in ways that are growing exponentially. And real estate is just a perfect place for it, because it has all these different ways to integrate with it. And this would be an additional database that we could have. So I guess what I'm saying is what like when you really, every time you pull off a little layer of the onion, there's more there to do. But,
I totally agree with that statement.
but we can, but the point is we could start now.
Right.
And I will tell you how I want to try this. Well, not want to, I am going to try. It's very simple, right? I'm going to do exactly what we're talking about. But, you know, I believe, you ever hear of a Dutch auction?
I have, yeah.
Okay. So for those that don't know what a Dutch auction is, and maybe I'm saying the wrong thing, let's say you have two partners and, you know, they have equal shares. One guy gets to buy and one guy wants to sell. So in order to find the right price, one guy makes up the price and the other guy decides if he wants to buy or sell. So it kind of keeps everybody honest, right? You know, because if I was going to sell it, you know, I'm going to I want everything. If I was going to buy it, I'd be like, you know. So
theoretically, it finds the true market price,
and it'll find a fist too. People don't always like it. You know, fair is when it's fair to me. But point that I'm trying to make is, you know, you said when we first started, you're like, you know, it's like the golden rule: treat people the way you want to be treated. That's the only way you're going to win. So you're going to have to treat the consumer well, and you know that's been you know, the problem since day one. But if we're more transparent, right, and they have a better understanding, that's one thing. Okay, what if we can, you know, now we've got a viable, you know, we're bringing this stuff back. I mean, we're bringing revenue back. What's the downside? What am I missing?
Probably, actually, fear of adoption. That is it. And actually, the tools are not easy. So therefore, we've cluttered up the jargon with phrases that are really unfamiliar to the people who have to adopt this stuff. And you know what I mean? We've overcomplicated the jargon to the point it's not easy. It has to be easy. As I say often here, you know, the people who are going to be using this are the people who want to do, not understand how it's done.
Right. Right. Their actions.
Therefore, you're talking about smart contracts and tokens, and it's like, hey, you know, I just want to be part of this network. Oh, okay. Oh, that's a different thing. How can you make it simple? And as Steve Jobs said, making it simple is hard. It takes a little bit of be clever. You have to really know your environment to make it simple. You can't just say, hey, I'm new in the industry, I'm going to revolutionize everything. It's like, because they throw a lot of jargon. They don't know the realities. They don't know what easy means to practitioners, because the process we're talking about is intricate and there's a lot of moving parts. So it's not easy from that side. But to the people who do it every day, it becomes second nature. And if you try to go with a whole new vernacular, a whole new jargon, it's like, I don't know, man. I just want to be able to do this.
You know, you're absolutely right, and this cuts much more. It's just this is human.
Yeah, but it's not as sexy. You're not going to get on some of the popular news sites for the industry by making it look easy. You got to make it look hard so you can attract these people, the venture capitalists, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? What if I don't want to do that? What if I'm the moron? You know, and I can resemble that remark in a million ways. Let's say I absolutely am telling you the truth, and I like the guys on the street. I am one of the guys on the street, and you know, 20 years from now, you're going to want somebody on that street. Trust me, you're not going to want to make a phone call to somebody in Taiwan.
That is totally
There's
true.
going to be a lot of problems with that. So you know, if we can do this, and you know, I'm sitting down with Mark Lesswing, and Mark Lesswing, you know, you're a business person. You got, you know, everybody has to add and do ads and market and everything. And you know, what's the first thing you want to do? You want cut your costs. You know, I mean, it's
darn right.
Cut your
costs, baby.
Right? Costs and value. Now, personally, I'm a value guy because I'm in real estate. You know, don't tell me what it costs. I want to know what it's worth. You know, that's the big.
There's a way to cut costs at the same time, and you know, it's a good thing.
Right. So
hey, you're a new agent here. Somebody's picking up your Starbucks. Big deal.
So here's the unsexy sexy YouTube. See, that's our base, because everybody understands YouTube.
That's because you push a button. That's
right.
Why,
right.
A lot of machinery going on behind that thing.
Oh, amen. but it's not our dime. And
Right.
Google, you know, when I was, I remember when the Tribune called me in and they said they went to a lot of their advertisers and they're gonna get rid of their advertising. It wasn't working, and all the technology. My point is if I can get on Google and I understand that, you know, that there is a comfort level for me, and Google doesn't want to be in the real estate business. Now, people can argue
the margin. You know why I think that is true?
Why?
Because the expertise needed to be successful takes years to do, and in the end, it's not as profitable for what they have to invest in knowledge.
Right.
I think
they just want us to be a good customer.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're smarter, they're bigger, they're faster, right? And did you know what's going on with the how they're changing their search, and it's becoming local.
Right.
So I see this.
Not gonna be able to take care of the special cases if somebody wants to do it this way for
right.
You're like, no. You have to follow a standard model. Be like, it's not standardized, man. It's people's lives.
Right. Right. Now, there will be levels, many levels above that, you know, for people that need and demand more, because there's, you know, I mean, there's just so much more. But you were so right in saying you got to make it easy. And if I say YouTube, every realtor will know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? If I start saying, you know, other things, it's just then I lose them. But you know, and YouTube is a perfect video platform for us, for people that, you know, for people that don't want to spend a lot of money, and they want all the things that go with it. So what I think is what I've heard from you is that technically speaking, everything we've talked about is something that we can enact now. I mean, there's the technology's here, right?
Right.
Okay.
What's been holding back is most of the technology people are hired by these tech companies. So, you know.
Well, that's exactly right.
Or you do what your employer tells you to do, you know?
Well, you know, I think, and this is going to be my, you know, I'll play my cards in public. I think that once this topic gets explored diligently, you know, everyone will see that change is growth. You know, I mean, it could be death too, but right now, you know, this is a great opportunity for us to go in a direction that can improve this industry.
Yeah, and some of the early thoughts behind BPP had those same goals in mind at the very beginning.
And they did. So you were from
yeah, they did. Right. But once they got into it, like, a little greed, not greed, other words. It got diverted. But some of the original, go back to the original paper on some of that thought, they had those goals in mind. So, well,
you know, they did. And what I don't understand, but I do understand, and you know, I'm about to blow myself up, is that they don't want to talk. They want to take proposals. They want, you know, people to agree with them and say, okay, I'll do it your way, and here's how I'll do it. But I can't, nor do I want to. I don't think it's right to spend a lot of money for old technology that's benefiting the wrong people.
Right. And
okay.
It's at that cusp, because these waves of technology go in like 20-year segments. They're just like generations of people. We're at that element right now.
Right. And have you ever met Swanepoel, Stefan Swanepoel? Yes. Okay, I know. You know, you roll with those in that level. I don't much. I remember talking to him. He did a keynote for us at MRED, and he said, you know, somebody asked him about making these deals, and he said, well, you know, about 15 years, you know, but that's just for the politics. The actual deal takes about 3 months. You know, so I think it's the politics of it, but I do believe, and this is my, you know, I'm not trying to disrupt an industry to disrupt. No. I'm trying to interject what I think is timely on the direction of what we do. Because Swanepoel said the same thing. These cycles go 15, 16 years, and we're X deep in this already. And if I could sit in a room, me, and not hear anything about blockchain, NFTs, anything like that, and then to be told that the consumer-facing part for agents isn't the responsibility of the MLS. That's it. I'm done. Then you're not of value to me. I mean, you're of value to check stuff, but I think if you're an MLS or anybody local, we all have to serve our customers. So I consider these people my customers too. At the end of the day, if I sell a piece of property and I do something shitty, and that happens. I mean, my God, that happens. And it's going to always happen because that's what human beings can do, right? It's not about real estate. It's just about human behavior. Then it's nice to have the Chicago Association of Realtors there to be able to hear my case and deal with this, because, guys, if a guy's a bad guy, nobody wants him really on the street. Who takes that? Well, the Chicago Association of Realtors is doing that. I mean, so these people have real jobs. It's real. It's value. So I think they should be in this. I just think the order of it is changed based on abilities, technology, and money. And I'm thinking
define policies and get everybody in these policy things. Fine, but sometimes they get into the business of implementing the policies too, and then maybe they shouldn't do that.
There's a lot of moving pieces, and I will leave you with this. So when this meeting happened, and I was vociferous in my that's 4 syllables too. I was vociferous.
That's good.
Vociferous, yes. I was vociferous in my disagreement. It got a lot of attention, and it's just who I am. I act the way I am, but no dialogue, and that's the part that bothered me. Mm-hmm. So I will tell you this: from what I've seen in my life, all the worst things that's happened in real estate have happened by small groups of people behind closed doors. All right, and that ain't going to happen again. And that's why. Some people are going to see this video; they're not going to like it, and I really don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean absolutely every word that I'm saying, and I trust you to be telling the truth, and your reputation precedes you, and you're one of the very few people that can talk about this intelligently without trying to. You're not the hustle.
No, I'm not selling it.
Well, no, but Mark, this is the problem with this business: is there's a lot of hustle.
Yeah,
and so the distrust has gone to hell, and I see that the same as real estate. So I guess what I might ask is that if we can do this again, that we can maybe go into the specifics of an actual transaction, because I'd like to. I'm not doing this to sit around. I'm doing exactly what I told you because we need it. And, why me? Well, I have a lot of experience and blah, 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 blah. But more than that, because I have the will, I think, and I know. And, I know a lot of people, if they were in that room, would have said the same thing I did. They weren't in that room.
But they weren't in the room.
Right. And you know how this works, it's like everybody sends a delegate hoping that that person's paying attention. But the big hitters and, it's just not what they do. They're doing sales and marketing and stuff. And one day they aren't going to be in that room. And I'm not sure if that I've already experienced that day, and something's going to happen. You can't go back. And so I wanted to be on camera with you, okay, to say that there should be an option,